Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
On our media line, Will Steiner, factory manager at Nestle Purina Pet Care in Eden. Hey, Will, how are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Well, let me say, I was going to say welcome to Eden. Maybe I should make it Rockingham County. Welcome to North Carolina.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. So far, been a very, very good welcome.
Well, we're glad you're here. You and Purina, excited about the good news that came out last fall. Before we get into some Purina things, we want to know about Will Steiner. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So, a little bit about me. I've been with Nestle Purina now for 15 years. Moved with them a number of times. Originally from Pennsylvania. Relocated here to North Carolina just a couple months ago in the process of getting settled in the north end of the state here with my girlfriend Malia and a dog and a cat.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy doing just about anything outdoors, and I think right now the startup of the new Purina factory is probably going to consume a good part of my time.
Well, it certainly is a busy time, I'm sure, and glad to have you and Malia and your dog and your cat. And, you know, we get really personal here now because what are your pets' names?
So I have Ruger is an 11-and-a-half-year-old Weimaraner. He's been with me for a good part of this journey, so I've moved with him now about 6 or 7 times.
Okay.
I've been a tremendous sport, and he's already settled into North Carolina quite nicely. And Bella is a 7-year-old cat.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're all here. This is wonderful. We have an inside rescue kitty, so yeah, glad to have those pets in our lives, aren't we? For sure. Well, tell us a little bit about Nestle Purina for those that may not know. Maybe a little background on the company, and then we'll get into what you're doing here in Eden.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nestle Purina is a global pet food leader. From a business standpoint, we operate basically under 3 different divisions. Well, we have what we call a wet pet food division, which is essentially your canned pet food and products sold in a solid seal pouch.
Mm-hmm.
We have our dry pet food division, which is your bags and your treats will happen to fall into that division as well. And then we have our litter division. From a Nestle Purina Eden, and what we're looking to do here is we're looking to expand our existing dry network that we have out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be a dry pet food facility. It will complement our existing 8 dry pet food facilities across the United States. And we'll be focused on a lot of the more premium brands that we sell in our portfolio.
Okay. And list those. What are those premium brands, Will?
You're looking at Purina ONE, your Purina Pro plans. You'll have Benepol coming out of this facility, veterinary diets. So a lot of those higher-end products that we produce and sell.
Okay. The names that we know for sure, and of course, the Purina name, Nestle Purina, has been around for a long, long time. If there's such a thing as an average day, what are you doing now there, getting the facility ready for this, to manufacture these products? So what's going on a regular basis, Will?
Oh, my. That's a pretty tough question. And I think when you ask me what average is, I think average today and average a year ago are very different.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I've been with the company now for 15 years. Spent quite a bit of time across the different divisions within our company.
Mm-hmm.
And average looks different in every role. When I look at average today with the startup of a new facility, it's kind of that alignment between our project team that's working on the physical construction of the new facility here in Eden, as well as what we call as our FLT, which is our factory leadership team. We have a few key roles that are already in place here in Eden, and we're materializing more and more by the day. But basically, we're trying to identify our training and onboarding plan and start actively recruiting for some of those positions.
How many people, and you're coming from another location, how many people, Purina folks, are coming from other locations here before you really get into hiring local people?
So we already have a mix, actually. We've already onboarded some from the Rockingham County area. But right now we have about 6 of the factory associates that are physically here and on ground in Eden. Most of those have transferred from the other locations. We've onboarded a couple local associates, and we are looking to extend a few more offers here today.
Okay. Well, please welcome everyone. We're glad everyone is here. Now, the last numbers I heard, you're expecting to be fully operational by 2022. Is that early in the year, or is that number still correct? Where are we in that timeline?
Yeah, so a little bit of a mix there. We look at our startup in a few different categories, and this particular facility will be set up to run 3 different systems, essentially meaning that we can run 3 different products at a given time. Mm-hmm. Those systems will come up sequentially, approximately a quarter behind each other. When we look at our onboarding timeline here, we're looking to begin what we call commissioning that first system in Q1 of 2022. When I say commissioning, that means we're physically going to go out there and actively turn the equipment, and that's done with our third-party general contractor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As we move from Q1 of commissioning next year in 2022, Q2 will then work on qualifying those products, so basically working on dialing in the quality of the products that we're producing to ensure that they meet our strict Purina standards. We will then move in Q3 to start that first system moving along into what we call commercially saleable, meaning that we're able to fulfill orders for the products that are coming off of that system out of this location. Mentioned there's 3 systems there. Each system will follow kind of about a quarter behind. So we would expect to have those first 3 systems up and fully functioning sometime in 2023. Okay.
It's really a long process. If you're not, as me being an outsider, no one really has a clue, I guess. There's a lot to work through the process, isn't there? It sounds like.
Oh my, there's so much. And quite frankly, this is really an accelerated project. If we were to traditionally look at doing this project, it's typically a 5-year plan is what we would look at, 5-6-year plan.
Wow.
We're trying to condense this down to a couple years. So we've really pushed hard in accelerating the process, and that's really because of the strength of our business.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, thank you for sharing that timeline with us. Now, what about local employees? When will you? People are wanting to know, of course, that hiring process. So, give us an idea of what that looks like, Will.
So, like I said, we've started. We've actually onboarded the first couple local employees today. We'll be extending a few more offers out there later this week. I think from a mass hiring standpoint, we would expect to start getting into some of those larger numbers late in the year, so probably about a Q4 timeline, and things will ramp up pretty quickly from there. Mm-hmm. Would say by about June of 2022, we should have all of our associates in place for all 3 systems.
Okay. And something else I did read early on, fully staffed by 2024. Is that still a correct number?
I would really expect to have that considerably accelerated at this point in time.
Yep.
At least for the first 3 systems.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're moving forward. As you say, you've really accelerated this. Normally a 5-year process, speeding it up because the demand for the product is so strong.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate. I know COVID has impacted everybody in different fashions. From a Purina standpoint, we've seen quite a few people come to our brand, and I think that's because of the trust that we have in the community. Mm-hmm. So over the course of the last 18 months, maybe up to 24 months now, we've really seen a pretty strong acceleration in that drive towards our products. And that's really driving us to really push these projects and kind of get this thing moving a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Oh, that's great. Well, you mentioned a moment ago about the quality control, I guess, using that term. That is extremely important in everything you do.
Without a doubt. We have a team of scientists that help to ensure the quality of the products that we're producing, and it's the core of our business. When we look at the few factory leadership team members that we have here on site, we've already appointed our quality manager. That quality manager did come internal to the company, so somebody that's already experienced with producing the products that we'll be producing out of this facility, mm-hmm. and we'll look to grow that focus on quality as we start to onboard every single one of our associates.
Let's talk a little bit about that quality, expand on that a little bit, because the consumer has hundreds of choices when it comes to pet foods, and I can't remember. I've seen some numbers, and you probably know them quickly. How much we spend on foods and toys and all of that. But it's a big industry, isn't it? And how does Purina fit into that, the products that you make that so many people use?
Yeah, when you look at the general pet food portfolio, Purina is seen as one of the leaders in that category. We continue to work on growing our market share, and really we're seeing that growth and we're feeling that demand from our customers. And I really attribute all that back to the trust that we have with the quality of the products that we're producing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, that quality and that trust, very important, that's for sure. Well, those are some of the main things I wanted to ask. I know you're new to the community, so again, welcome. We've got a couple of minutes here. If there's anything that I didn't ask or we needed to add here, Will, we can take a few, maybe 3 minutes here to wrap things up.
No, we're just incredibly grateful to be here in the community. I can't say enough for the way that the community has responded to us coming to town. We've been pretty much greeted with open arms from just about everybody. So can't say thank you enough. We're incredibly prepared. We're ready. We're excited to be part of this community. I know we've got a few events coming up here before too long, and the interest that we've had in our company has been tremendous. So just overall incredibly grateful for the opportunity. Happy to be here in North Carolina and looking for the years to come.
Well, we are certainly happy to have you here. And am I right on this number? A $550 million investment, is that right?
Yeah, so it's probably a little bit of a tough number. We're looking at a pretty significant investment between two facilities in the United States. Overall, we've got well over $1 billion invested in each two new sites, but $550 million is pretty close to what we'll see here in North Carolina.
Right. The biggest announcement from Rockingham County Economic Development ever. So I'm glad the Purina name is attached to that, Will. And you mentioned the community. Just in our closing moments here, I've been on a couple of Facebook pages and websites. You really are, once you get going, you really are an important part of the community and giving back, it looks like, too, and that's so important.
So, that's one thing that's really key to Purina, and that's something that, for me, I've moved for this company a number of times. I wouldn't move for somebody that doesn't see or doesn't have the same core values that I do as a person. When we get and invest in a community, we are part of that community. I think that's one thing that community involvement is something we really hang our hats on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of time before we can get out there and begin to engage a little bit more. We've already started with some steps. We just don't have the people to do it just yet, but really looking forward to being a real key part of this community here in Eden.
Oh, that's great to have you in our community. If there is a place, I've gone to your Facebook page, just simply Purina. Is there a place where we can go on a regular basis and maybe find out more about specifically what's happening at the Eden plant, or is just that Purina Facebook page the best place?
The Purina Facebook page is a great place to start. That is something that we're working on, and we're working with the local government officials here in Eden to try to find a way to get that information out a little bit cleaner. But I would expect that we'll have something up and running to help cascade some of that information back to the community a little bit clearer here in the coming weeks.
Okay. All right, work in progress and more to come. I appreciate your time, and I know you're extremely busy. Thank you for sharing this important information with us today, Will. Good getting acquainted this way. Thank you, and wishing you much success here in North Carolina and right here in Eden.
Hey, we greatly appreciate that. Thanks for your time, and it was a pleasure meeting you today, Mike.
Same here, Will. We'll talk again soon, perhaps. Thanks. Have a good week.
Yep, bye.
All right, bye. Will Steiner with us today. He is the factory manager for Nestle Purina Pet Care in Eden, locating here. The big announcement coming last fall. Now, if you need more information, as you just heard, they're fine-tuning that social media presence. But for right now, just go to the Facebook page, Purina, and lots of good information there about what's going on with the company and products and things like that, some helpful information. And again, welcome to Nestle Purina. We're excited to have this great company right here in Rockingham County and here in Eden.